Fall in love with 252 exclusive offers on the Citroën range at Hugo Luna Motors today. Explore our impressive collection of Citroën cars and vans, where advanced comfort, style, safety and reliability all come together. Order your 252 today and take advantage of low-rate finance, a €500 deposit contribution and avail of a free home charger. Book your test drive today at hugolunamotors.ie. Citroën. For everyone, like no one.
Citroën. It's time for Taking Care of Business on Midlands 103. With thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Hello and good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Taking Care of Business. I'm Ronan Berry, and coming up over the next hour, you'll meet Richie O'Hara Jnr, the founder of Luain Clothing, to explore how a River Shannon inspired fashion brand is taking shape from the heart of the Midlands. I'll also be talking to Orla Dollard about how Abbeyleix's Philip Doogue Mechanical Services won the National Employer of the Year award through a culture of mentorship and apprenticeship excellence. And later on, the president of Tullamore Chamber, Caroline Collins, will unveil their new Business After Hours networking initiative. She'll speak about the opening of nominations for their business awards and, of course, the return of the ever-successful QUIDS voucher scheme. So plenty to get stuck into over the next while. If you want to get stuck in here too, the best way and the quickest way is by text or WhatsApp to 083 3010 103, powered of course by the home of Offaly's leading Toyota brand, Lamb Brothers Toyota on the Arden Road in Tullamore. So always looking forward to hearing from you. If you want to get in touch as well, business@midlands103.com is the email address. But we're going to begin this evening by talking about housing, transport and major infrastructure projects, because the majority of projects in the country are under significant pressure due to delays, bottlenecks and of course soaring costs. The government now hopes to change all that with its new Accelerating Infrastructure report published last week by the Department of Public Expenditure, Infrastructure, Public Service Reform and Digitalisation. It follows the work of the Accelerating Infrastructure Task Force, which was established earlier this year to identify barriers and propose reforms. Now, few people understand the practical side of fast-track construction better than Tony Woods of Midland Steel Reinforcement Supplies, now with branches or depots in Mountmellick, Portlaoise, London, Motherwell and Norway, and of course key partners with Nucor in the United States for large infrastructure projects too. They have pioneered new methods for off-site systems and have already proven their value, including a recent rapid restoration of the Lewis Red Line. Tony joins me now, and Tony's a good man to cut through the jargon and explain maybe what this report might actually mean for companies like his, and indeed for all of us, as we look at these infrastructure projects that are badly needed, to say the least. Very good evening, Tony, and welcome back to the show.
Evening, Ronan. Thanks for having me.
Tony, no, always a pleasure. And there's four kind of key pillars in this report. One of them is legal reform, so it looks at changes to legislation to speed up projects, approvals, manage judicial reviews, etc. Another is looking at the regulatory reform and simplification, again looking at planning, licensing and environmental or consent processes, and also a piece around public acceptance and how communities and the public are engaged, particularly in explaining the benefits of infrastructure. The third pillar of this recent report is about coordination and delivery form. And as I said in the start there, you're somebody very well versed to speak on this. And it's all about improving coordination across agencies, better procurement frameworks, adoption of modern methods of construction and digital tools, and stronger project delivery capability. Firstly, have you had a chance to look through the report, and what have you initial kind of an opinion on what you're seeing?
Well, Ronan, I suppose the report is extremely welcome. I mean, the industry and the country and its infrastructure has got itself into a place where it's not pretty. To be fair, the government have this year put the policy in place of trying to change it and trying to change it really quickly. So what the document has come out with is, just as you've described, four key pillars that try to make a difference, to try and speed it up and deliver fast-track projects. And I suppose the biggest one, and the two biggest ones that they have to deal with are the ones that they've nominated at the start, is legal reform and regulatory reform. That is having a massive impact on what we are doing on a daily basis, what the country is doing and the infrastructure and the development of infrastructure in the country. So it's a welcome document. There's 30 actions within the document that have indicative timelines And I suppose what we've seen is 2025, we have seen the start of the process being implemented and the foundation, I suppose, and the policy launches. From 2026 onwards, really, we are going to have probably a year of trying to work through where the country is in terms of legal reform and changing that legal reform into a parallel process and bringing it to a place where we can, really drive down and bring the coordination between utilities, transport, water and energy. And there are four biggest, real big problems that we have in the country. You'll probably see energy getting a boost at the start, I imagine. It's probably one of the really key drivers of the country's investment. We're losing, and it was stated this weekend in one of the tabloids clearly, that we're losing billions and billions of euro on an annual basis in this country because we don't have the infrastructure to deliver foreign direct investment. And, we probably missed the trick from 2012 to 2020, where, really speaking, the country was just at a standstill in terms of development of process, albeit financial constraints were there for sure.
Absolutely, so, and there was a loss of talent too, and particularly people left the industry. There wasn't the flood of apprentices in that would have been traditionally there. So there's many factors that are compounding that as well. One thing we know is there's been a lot of focus over the last number of years on modern methods of construction, and yourselves in Midland Steel, pioneers of this and a key driver of it, both nationally and even internationally as well. If the first two pillars, if all the legal stuff gets aligned and projects can be fast-tracked or delivered more efficiently, will that be timely enough for companies like yourselves who've invested so much in these modern methods? Will both processes align that everybody can then use that as a springboard to really drive this development of a critical infrastructure?
Well, I suppose in 2026 we're not going to see it massively have an impact in terms of shovels in the ground. That's just my opinion. You have good news in terms of the MMC training programs are being expanded nationally, which gives an opportunity for MMC companies to actually bring people into industry and train them up for the deliverable. But it will most likely be 2027 before we actually see system change becoming visible. The regulatory time limits have been there, and the time it's going to take to work through that 2026 into 27 is going to be difficult for government. But for sure, when that does actually start to kick in, what we should see is a big change in 2027 towards MMC and towards the delivery of the national infrastructure that has been committed to. We have 102 billion euros worth of commitment given by government, which is the largest in the state has ever received and seen. So in terms of putting the pedal to the metal, as I say, the government are looking at steam forwarding and delivering really changeable process to country and giving us an opportunity for the economies to grow. And of course, they have to take into consideration, we have to take into consideration labour availability and the sparsity of labour availability. So what we have is a situation, if we look at just only this weekend, there was 2 reports written in 2 tabloids about construction costs and the rising of construction costs. One of the reports was that it said that the average apartment now in Dublin to build is costing in excess of 600,000 euros. On the other report, which was evaluating the first one, it transpired that by using MMC and modern methods of construction, that value is 511,000 euros. So there's an 89,000 euro difference by using MMC over traditionalism.
And this was something that almost prompted me to give you a shout yesterday, because I was passing a site in the Midlands and I saw guys out, with consaws chopping up steel mesh to put into the floors or foundations of houses. And it just reminded me of you, because this will give listeners a great example of the type of stuff that you're pioneering in Midland Steel, because all that can be fabricated off-site now and just literally set into place. And we have a great example recently, because people might remember there was an incident of fire on the Lewis Red Line there a couple of months ago, and you were instrumental in getting that back really quickly. Just take us through some of the key points of that and the difference that MMC and the off-site made in that.
So to a point, right, if we just take that that chap that you saw yesterday with a console in the middle of a field or a site, cutting up material to put it into a foundation. The options that the builder has and the construction companies have now is that they can give us their plans of that site, and we'll deliver that all pre-medi, cut to its size, 0% waste, and that individual will not have to give half his day cutting up material and leaving 2/3 of it in the skip at the end of the day because it's gone to waste. So what we've done with MMC, I think, and what we are doing in Ireland with MMC is that we can become industry leaders. The issue that we have, I suppose, is that the industry itself is not moving forward, and the government are trying to bring MMC into policy, but they're not fully committing to giving an order book towards it. If we take St. George's Bridge in Dublin and the let's say example we gave there of infrastructure being delivered fast, what we did in that particular instance for our client was we took a digital approach, we modelled the detail, we fabricated it on a machine, we delivered it to the site, and what we did in one day with 2 people would have taken 5 days. So with 3 or 4. Effectively, you're taking 80% of the time off the actual timelines in the delivery of national infrastructure, which is key to keeping our urban environments going.
And there you
go.
And
we have the capabilities. The factories are in Ireland. They're all over Ireland in every space. We're the first company to bring it into the foundations and the delivery of basements and concrete structures in reinforcing steel, not only in Ireland but in the world. So we're disruptors, I suppose, in what we do, but for sure the benefits of MMC far outweigh the traditional approach, which has been there for hundreds of years. But now, at this point in time, we actually don't have the labour to deliver traditionalism. So we have to start looking down a different corridor and looking towards the future, using digitalisation, using robotics, and using the best possible of efficiency that you can deliver to bring you to a more sustainable practice.
From an industry perspective, what do you need to see from government, from the department, to know that those recommendations are those pillars are not just being looked at, but they're actively being tried to? Will there be a way for people to actually track what's happening and look at when new bills or legislation will finally be put through the door?
So, yeah, I mean, you're going to see a lot of that in 2026. There's going to be a lot of discontent, I'm sure, with some, and then there'll be a lot of happier people in others. In the development world will for sure be very pleased to see fast-tracking process and planning, fast-tracking process in the delivery of sites, the opening up of sites, the zoning of areas with council. All of that implementation is going to bring good things. We'll see it probably taking place in energy first, and then into the utilities of water, wastewater treatment, and of course then we're into the infrastructure that's required for us to attract foreign direct investment. Our National Development Plan has indicated that we are trying to attract the tech companies of the world into Ireland, which are generating substantial revenues for us in corporation tax. If we're able to get another Intel or an Nvidia or a Samsung or a TSMC making chips in Ireland, what difference will that make to us? It'll make a massive difference to the country because it brings other companies around it investing as well. So, the direction of government and what they're proposing to do with their National Development Plan and also the acceleration of this plan is the right way. It's the right future. It's the way forward. Are they going to achieve it overnight? For sure they're not. We're going to be looking at probably 2028, 29, 30 before you see substantial infrastructure actually in place. So
a bit of a ramp there to plan for that as well. I suppose the big question I've often asked people is, could Ardna Crusha be built in 2026 in Ireland? And at the current, I think, circumstances, definitely not a hope. But who knows? By 2026 or 2027, 28, maybe the pathways would open for that as well. And undoubtedly, something like companies like yourself are more than well set up and equipped to do. Tony, it's a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for your time this evening, and we'll talk to you again soon.
You're very welcome, Ronan. Thank you.
That's Tony Woods. They're the Managing Director of Midland Steel Reinforcement Supplies. Check out their website and just look up their faster fix method. They are absolute pioneers and global leaders in what they do. all of course headquartered and all coming from the Midlands. Time to take a quick break. After that, you're going to meet the founder of Luain Clothing, another fantastic Midlands brand that has emerged this year.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
The O'Hara family are synonymous with business and entrepreneurship around Athlone, and in July of this year, Richie O'Hara Jnr. launched his own clothing brand called Luain Clothing. Richie joins me now. Very good evening, Richie.
Ronan, how are you? Thank you for having me on the show.
Fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about Luain Clothing. Why clothing?
So, I suppose Luain was founded in July 2025. It's rooted in the values of community, quality and nature. It's inspired by the River Shannon and the life that it sustains. And the name comes from the Irish for Athlone, which is my hometown. I'm a proud Athlonian, and I love the town. And I decided to name the brand after the town to try and push the word out that Athlone is a place that is brimming with amazing people and amazing things to do. Athlone is on the River Shannon, and in many ways the river shapes the town and the lifestyle that can be had here. Places like Connemara, Achill or Killarney are synonymous with outdoor adventure and activity, and Athlone is the same, although it is yet to be discovered, in my opinion. And so Luain Clothing is another way of letting people know that what the River Shannon has to offer and what Athlone has to offer.
And you're not just trying to get that message out, I'd imagine, to people around the wider Midlands or Ireland. Have you kind of a global ambition with this?
So I suppose from that perspective, we have had sales through the website from every province in Ireland, as well as in the UK, the US and Australia. And for me, that is the key to growth, for the brand. And obviously, there's a big Irish diaspora all around the world. And those are certainly people that we want to speak to and people that we want to communicate our brand to. But, I suppose it is rooted in Athlone, and it's a brand. It's not only for Irish people, but it's certainly inspired by a very prominent part of Ireland. And, the international market, is definitely something that is crucial for me, yeah.
When you mention things like community or even nature-led when it comes to a clothing brand, how does that come out? How is that part of the clothing that you're producing or selling? So, it for me, taking, say, the nature part of it, the clothing is made from heavy cotton, which is long lasting and is durable. And so it's kind of trying to move away from that sort of fast fashion model. And I've really tried to emphasize with the production side of it, the quality of the clothing so that they would last, a long time. I'm not going to say a lifetime, but a long time for people. And so in that way, we have tried to develop the garments in a way that people are going to get good wear out of them for quite some time. And then I suppose with the illustrations and the designs that are on the garments as well, those are all elements and scenes and depictions from nature as well. So that is how we bring nature into it. And then to go back to say the community aspect of it, it can be a hard thing to pin down, and a lot of brands kind of come out and say things like, "Oh, we're community focused," but I suppose we can only try and back that up with our actions. And we've sponsored sort of festivals in Athlone, the Creelor Music Festival or the Athlone River Festival, just this year. And in that way, we try and support other endeavours and other community-driven, community-led things as well. So I suppose that's how we try and incorporate those values into our brand. Take us through the first collection that you launched, the types of garments, and there's other accessories too, like hats and stuff.
There is indeed, yeah. So our first drop consisted of, we started small, and I think there's no point in trying to go too big too soon. So we started small. We have a hoodie in 2 different colours and a t-shirt in 3 different colours. And they feature designs that were illustrated by a Roscommon artist. And those are and then there's also 3 different variations of hats that are available as well. So a beanie hat for the kind of winter months to keep you warm, and then a bucket hat and a wide-brimmed hat for the sun in the summer to kind of keep you protected from the sun.
We could nearly all do, I think, with one of each of those hats in a bag every day in Ireland, the way things have been going lately, because we're getting a bit of everything. But when it comes to finding that balance then between, quality, the ethical side of it, and the cost, particularly in clothing manufacture, how do you strike that and still be able to deliver value for your customers?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And Ronan, if I knew that, I could be in a totally different position than I am now. But we get our clothes manufactured in Portugal, and Portugal has a great reputation when it comes to, say, the sustainability and the ethical side of it. So in that way, that's how we ensure that our customers know what they're getting, so that we're not just sort of saying things and getting something else. So, and then the next part of that question is about the cost and around the cost. And it certainly is very challenging because, as everyone is aware, it's a highly competitive market. There's a lot of competition from lots of different entities, say from the bigger brands that are very price competitive, and they might be able to sell a very similar garment to me for half the price or less. You then have smaller entities that are constantly bursting onto the scene, and Irish fashion is really having a moment. There's a host of startup Irish fashion brands and designers that are producing really unique and beautiful clothing. But I suppose it doesn't faze me. I think it's a good thing. I think it helps put Irish fashion on the map on a global scale. And that is for me, which is the goal to get to. So I suppose to deliver, the quality to the customer, what you're really, I suppose, trying to get the message across is the story and the ethics and the value behind the brand. And I suppose the feeling that somebody gets when they wear Luain Clothing, it has to feel different. And we want to, and that's what we're trying to do.
And there's probably not too many suppliers would have 100% cotton garments this day and age too. That in itself is something to be applauded, and it's a credit to you too. What's next for Luain Clothing? Are there more collections coming? How do you plan to scale the brand and get the word out there?
Yeah, so we are we're anticipating our second drop, which will be arriving in Ireland on the 11th of December, and will be available to purchase for Christmas. Again, we've gone for a small batch quantity as we try and grow the brand and to try and minimize waste as much as possible. So, and I just wanted to say as well at this point, the team, because it's coming to my mind and everything I'm saying here. I may have founded the brand, but the team is everything. And if I could mention Abbeyleix Healy, Rachel Ann Rafferty, Adam Cook, Sally O'Hara, Breen Elliott, Laura Dunning, Ruth, Kayla and Siobhan, my mum and my dad and my brother, because they have, supported me in so many ways within the business and outside of the business. And all of those people deserve credit for everything that has happened and everything that is to come with the second drop. So we're, it certainly is a team effort,
Absolutely. And again, sorry, Richie, yep.
With that team effort, and a lot of good people around me. I'm quite optimistic for the future of Luain Clothing.
What is it? And I think, everybody needs to consider the clothing they're buying going forward. Like, we're at a time of year where people go out and they buy pyjamas for all the family, and it's fast fashion, it's mass produced, and it's probably discarded in the new year, and new ones are bought for next year. So if people could even consider buying a gift for somebody that they know is going to last and they can have for as long as they maintain it, I think we all have to really start and go back to that. It's not exactly a new thing. Go back to that. And it's great to see brands like yours emerging from the Midlands again, and exciting times ahead. Richie O'Hara, thank you so much for that this evening.
Thank you, Ronan. And may I just say, we'll be at the Athlone Christmas markets from the 11th to the 14th and the 18th to the 21st of December. If you want to come down and try them on or just have a chat, we'd love to see you there.
Absolutely. Great place, a great event as well. Thanks a million, Richie, there. That's Richie O'Hara Jnr. there, the founder of Luain Clothing. So Luain, so luainclothing.com, or you'll find them across all the major social media channels. You can check out their the brand and look at the story behind it there, and the items on offer for sale as well. Could be a great Christmas gift for somebody in the Midlands, or somebody from the Midlands, or somebody sending a gift to somebody, maybe to let them know that it came from a Midlands company. Now, time for another quick break. After that, we're going to meet a company in Abbeyleix that was awarded Employer of the Year in an award ceremony just last week.
The French know luxury. Discover the all-new 252 DS Automobiles range at Hugo Luna Motors. Experience pure driving pleasure with DS Automobiles, the French luxury car company. DS's premium range stands out through its charismatic style, interior refinement, sophisticated technology and first-class comfort. Book your test drive today and discover the magic of DS Automobiles at hugolunamotors.ie.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Still to come on this show, Tullamore Chamber of Commerce has unveiled a new networking initiative. Find out from President Caroline Collins just what that is very, very shortly. But before that, a Laois business has just made national headlines. Philip Doogue Mechanical Services in Abbeyleix has been named Employer of the Year at the National Apprenticeship Office Awards, only one of 8 winners across the entire country. They're praised as apprenticeship pioneers and champions of young talent. And if you listen to Tony Woods at the start of the show talking about construction, we even spoke about the loss of talent during the downturn and how that wasn't replaced quickly enough, and we're suffering for that as well. Many sectors speak about the need to get talent in and how to retain it as well. Well, clearly, this company is doing something very, very right. I'm delighted to be joined by Orla Dollard to talk more about the company, the award and the winning culture behind it. Very good evening, Orla.
Hi, Ronan. Thanks for having me.
Not at all. Orla, there's nothing like a great national award to kind of shine the spotlight on the company in the Midlands that maybe many of us haven't heard of before. Tell us about the story of Philip Doogue Mechanical Services. What's the background to it and how did it grow into the business that it has become today?
Okay, so I suppose it started from a very young age for Philip himself. He would have been servicing cars for his family probably from the age of 13. And from this young age then, he probably knew that this is all he wanted to do. When he finished school then, he went and done a HGV apprenticeship with Shore Hall in Urlingford. And in 2008 then, when kind of things took a turn here in Ireland, he went to England and worked there for a couple of years. And he came back then in 2011 and decided to open his own garage. So it was a one-man workshop then, but the goal was to provide an unbeatable service. So within kind of 6 months of the business, it was growing steadily. Philip began investing in diagnostic equipment and expanding the services that he was offering. He started recruiting mechanics and apprentices then from the offset.
Absolutely. So again, that expansion into diagnostics, you do need to kind of keep your existing workforce upskilled and bring new people in then with those new skills as well. Just give us an overview of the typical type of services that you specialise in then and maybe an insight into what sets your workshop apart.
Okay, so we specialise in all mechanical jobs, but our main focus is on heavy vehicles. So we will do anything from cars and vans right up to trucks, trailers, diggers and crushers. I suppose our commitment to delivering a high quality and reliable service is what sets us apart. Our team has a lot of hands-on experience with all kinds of heavy vehicles, and again, using the up-to-date diagnostic equipment helps us to find and fix problems quickly.
What size team has it grown into today?
At the moment, we have 7 employees.
Yeah, so it's been steady growth as well, and apprenticeships have been a key part of that over the years.
Absolutely, yeah. I suppose apprenticeships are going to be the future of the business, so they are. We're constantly looking for them. We're always encouraging them. They are going to be the future of the heavy vehicle industry.
And getting people into an industry and retaining them there can be a challenge, because any sector faces pulls from other countries, other industries to take people out. To win an award like you did last week, getting a national award, what was that like?
Oh, it felt incredibly rewarding, so it did. It was a really proud moment for our whole team, because it recognised the effort that we have put into training and mentoring our apprentices.
What do you think maybe sets you apart in the judges' eyes, particularly in the way that you manage and deal with apprentices in the business?
Yeah, I think the judges recognise that our approach to apprenticeships goes beyond providing training. We give apprentices real responsibility and a clear pathway to grow then within the heavy vehicle industry.
Absolutely, because again, not only are the diagnostics evolving to meet the actual vehicles themselves. When you start looking at, I suppose, electric vehicles is going to be the next thing. Like, how does a business like yours adapt and be ready for maybe more electric vans or electric trucks, because they're probably not that far down the line, or even trucks running on HVO or whatever it might be?
Yeah, this is where we see our apprenticeships becoming increasingly important in the motor sector, especially as the vehicles get more complex with new technologies. Apprenticeships will be the best way to combine the hands-on experience with a learning programme. And apprentices coming on will need to be adaptable, tech-savvy and ready to keep learning throughout their career.
Absolutely. How do you create that positive learning environment for your young trainees in the company?
I suppose by making sure that they feel supported from day one. When these young people come to work with us, we pair them with our senior mechanics and we encourage them to ask plenty of questions. On top of that, then we involve them in the real day-to-day job, so they do feel like part of the team and not just observers. And again, if mistakes are made, it's seen as a learning opportunity that they can grow from.
Absolutely. Maybe even for the apprentice and for the company, or even for the supervisor, there's always learning opportunities. I think it's an important approach to the way we do our work as well. Having the business headquartered and based in Abbeyleix as well, does that provide you with kind of a wide talent pool to work from, or are there still challenges in enticing people into the sector?
There will be still challenges, especially in our area, because it is a small local population and it can limit the pool of young people aware of the opportunities in the heavy vehicle industry. There's also challenges then with changing perceptions. Like, some young people may not initially see a career in a workshop as an exciting or even a viable option. But at the same time, there are real opportunities. I suppose being a well-established business now, it will allow us to stand out and attract motivated apprentices. And
of course, the workshop of maybe 10 years' time is probably going to be vastly different from what it was, say, now, or even 10 years ago. You could have no diesel vehicles in the workshop anymore, maybe very little oils in play. Like, it's actually quite fascinating where things may end up in a short space of time.
It is, yeah. And like that's what the backbone of this award has been for us. It'll be a springboard now for the next phase of our growth. We're going to continue to invest in our apprentices and our staff, but we are looking at expanding the range of services that we offer, and we hope to upgrade our workshop facilities to be able to handle more complex and modern vehicles. And for anybody listening, plenty of opportunities coming up, I'd imagine, with Philip Doogue Mechanical Services. Absolutely. We hope to be bringing on more skilled mechanics and supporting the next generation through apprenticeships. So I would encourage anyone in school, if they're listening and they're thinking college isn't for them, do get in contact with us. The apprenticeship programme in Ireland is excellent at the moment, and this earn while you learn approach is really appealing to the young people now. Absolutely. And I would add to that, like, it's a career that there'll always be a need for it. It's probably one of the few at the minute you can say, if you're qualified in that sector and are in that industry and you're able to keep yourself upskilled through a company like yourselves, you have skills for life there, and something that can always be relied on as well. Orla Dollard, it's been fantastic talking to you. Well done to yourself and to Philip himself and everybody involved with Philip Doogue Mechanical Services. No mean feat being named Employer of the Year at the National Apprenticeship Office Awards. Congratulations, enjoy the celebrations. You can get back to work then maybe later this week. Thanks, Ronan.
Not at all, Orla. An absolute pleasure and a privilege as well. So there you go, another fantastic company doing great stuff in the Midlands region. Time after the break now to come back to Tullamore and see what new initiative for networking Tullamore Chamber has just launched.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Our local chambers of commerce play a crucial role in our local economies, particularly in the run-up to Christmas through things like the voucher schemes they do. Tullamore's version is the QUIDS vouchers, and in any of the chambers, Laois, Mullingar, Athlone, Tullamore, they are a fantastic way of giving somebody a gift and making sure that money stays locally. There's lots happening though with all our chambers of commerce. Caroline Collins is the president of Tullamore and District Chamber of Commerce. Caroline is here though to tell us about a new network initiative they've just launched called Business After Hours, and I believe, Caroline, it kicks off next Monday the 15th of December.
It does. It kicks off at 6:30, and the first edition of Business After Hours is being hosted by Anthony Kearns in Luain Clothing. And I suppose the initiative itself, where it came from, is we have a number of new members to the Chamber over the last year. In fact, we've tripled the membership in the Chamber over the last year. And one of our new members, Tina, through a brainstorming session, suggested the Business After Hours. We went out, we put a survey out there, and our membership thought it was a great idea. It was an informal network gathering for members and for local businesses to come together. It wasn't in a formal setting of a meeting room. They thought it being hosted by a local retailer or a local business was a great idea, and it gave them opportunities maybe to look at collaborations with other businesses in the area. So a more relaxed setting, informal gathering, if you like, for local businesses to come together.
And what a strong starting point, because many listeners probably familiar with Luain Clothing, and particularly Anthony himself from being on air with us and on Midlands Today. But as well as having that real solid local footing, they have a fantastic online business that sees them distribute clothes nationally as well. So fantastic for people to get behind the scenes and see what's happening on that. That's next Monday the 15th from 6:30 p.m. I think it's tullamorechamber.com/events where people can register for that.
They can register for the event. They can indeed through the website. And I would encourage, whether you're a business in the area which is a member of the Chamber, or if you're a local business and you're not a member, come along, register, come along, meet other businesses. There's a number of new businesses that have opened in Tullamore. Like I can name two along the Bridge Centre, even in Natasha VIP, and you've Chris Devine here. So, you're welcome to come along, meet other local business people, form those connections and see how your business can collaborate. We're not in competition against each other. We're here to drive business into the local area. We want people to be spending local at Christmas, and we want people to get to know each other and have that networking and the collaboration. I think a great event and a new business to get to know an established business who may be able to mentor them along the way.
Absolutely, and there's so many businesses too that would have a long kind of history within the town centre or within the region too, and they can always pass on advice to the newer business.
Exactly.
And of course that can come back as well, because newer business might have a certain way of doing, particular business or marketing, whatever it is. So lots happening. Of course, if anyone's listening and there is a business in the Tullamore region that they would like to maybe get shortlisted, the Tullamore Chamber of Commerce Awards are actually open for nominations now. The awards are taking place in January, but people can get their nominations in now.
They can. The nominations will close on the 15th of December at 6 p.m. I suppose the awards committee, and what's the new committee that's behind the Business Awards this year, just revamped it a little bit, is what I will say. There's 9 different categories in the Business Awards, and then there's 25 subcategories. There's loads of businesses that you can nominate. You go on to the Chamber website. You do need to create an account, first of all, just so you can nominate. But once you have that account created, it doesn't cost you anything to create the account. You can nominate, the best hairstylist. You can nominate your favourite coffee shop. That customer experience that you just found was absolutely exceptional, and you want that individual to be nominated for an award. You can go online, you can do that. I think the committee have done a fantastic job this year. I think the categories are really exceptional, even on sustainability, and a leadership award they have in there as well as a health and wellness and social care impact award. there's something for everybody. And I believe that exceptional service is there in Tullamore, the one that nominate an individual, a business, or even someone you work with, or an employer, because you do have an Employer of the Year category in the awards as well.
Super. So that kind of rejigging of the categories as well. It's to reflect the type of businesses that are out there in that community too. And great that people have to register, because at least that keeps the bots out anyway. Very briefly, Caroline, we mentioned there like the need, like the local economy, keeping money local at Christmas. The QUIDS vouchers, people should be familiar with them, but you can get them again this year. And particularly for any company looking at maybe giving an employee a voucher, they can give them up to €1,500 I think now, and that can all be spent locally.
Yes, €1,500 since the 1st of January 2025, and it can be spread across 5 benefits for an employer as such. It is tax-free, PRSI-free for the employee, so it's a great advantage for the employee and the employer. There's different tax initiatives there, but that exemption is definitely one exceptional one that's there. We have a lot of local employers who would, give a Christmas bonus, and they're looking at doing it through the QUIDS offering. And look, a number of local businesses are accepting the QUID voucher. As such, it's a cash. That's the best way I can describe it. You're tendering it like you would tender cash in all the local stores. A lot of the stores have registered on our website to show that they're accepting QUIDS. We are encouraging other businesses in the area that haven't registered to contact us, and we're asking people to put a poster up in the window simply saying that they're accepting the QUIDS.
And that's it. It's that simple. As you say, it's effectively cash in the local economy, keeps it local and stays local. Caroline Collins, President of Tullamore District Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for that this evening. And apologies, my time is just up. Thank you to all this evening's guests. Just again, shows you the fantastic stuff that's happening around the Midlands. Joe Cooney's here next after 8. I'll talk to you all next Tuesday.